Welcome to the IDP Show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my left, Adam Markham. Addy, how are you, hon?
Doing very well, Josh. How are you, mate?
So good. It's a little duo pod action tonight. You're sitting on my left so you can watch the TV. I'm a little off kilter, Addy. The football has been pretty horrendous tonight, but we're still going to watch it, of course.
Yeah, this is a little weird.
I know, right?
First, this is, I don't think we've ever done this before.
No, you have never sat in that seat before.
Whew.
It's throwing me off.
Crazy.
The feng shui of the room is totally off, but that's okay. We're going to power through. We've got a really good episode for you guys tonight. We're going to be looking back on the week that was. In week 3, did it soar to the heights of week 1 and 2, Addy? Not quite, but still some nice games and some nice IDP performances out there.
Yeah, it's not over yet. We're watching the Monday night game right now. It's 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's been a fun game. It's turned into a fun game. Yeah, and I mean, it's been a great game for us that play IDP.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence balling out.
Love to see it.
Torrance Armstrong, great game. I think he just got his second sack. Donovan Wilson, another great game. Both guys that were on the recent tweet that I told you to pick up. So
there you go.
Love to see it.
I knew we were working into some kind of falling backwards into a plug here.
Got to. That's the move these days. Just plugging yourself and patting yourself on the back.
Could really take that multiple ways. Talking about plugging yourself, folks.
Sure.
But we're glad you guys are here. It's going to be a fun episode tonight. Bobo is in Florida with the family on vacay. So hope you're having a great time, Bobo. But we're going to talk about the week 3 action. We've got some news and notes. We'll probably hit on some waivers. And then we've got a really fun segment for you guys tonight. We've done variations of this segment in the past, but it is basically the panic room segment. So we're looking at highly drafted players who have underperformed thus far this season and asking ourselves, Addy, is it time to panic? I know I think the Connie season, we had Chamber of Screams, which was a lot of fun. It was close to Halloween.
Yeah, we should have done some good drops, some witchy drops.
Some witchy drops. It's not quite spooky season yet.
Yeah.
When does spooky season start for you?
Oh, we're getting close. I mean, we're in range. I guess as soon as October starts.
That's for me. It's October 1st.
Yeah.
Anything before that. Now, if you want to do like really hardcore decorations at your house, I could understand wanting to get more mileage than just 31 days out of that if you go through the effort. But for me, it's October 1st. We got to chill out on jumping the gun with all of these holidays.
Yeah, I've already noticed. I was at Walmart the other day, and they already got their Christmas stuff out. They got their whole Christmas section set up. So.
Hobby Lobby has had Christmas stuff out since like mid-August. It's gross what we're doing.
That's insane.
In these holiday streets, folks. We need to calm down. It's like the story Bobo told about putting out, what was it, flags for like 3,000 flags for Labor Day?
Yeah, people are just bored. And like there's like a holiday every single day now. There's like a National Donut Day.
I think there's like 8 National Donut Days a year.
Because I'm okay with those.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not mad that we have multiple donut days. But yeah, every day literally is a holiday. Like if I think you went to like whatholidayisit.com, here September 26th is probably some kind of obscure holiday we've never heard of.
There's 100%.
Yeah.
365 holidays now.
Oh, 3,650 holidays probably. So Halloween, October 1st, coming up. Not going to be Chamber of Screams, Panic Room tonight. We've got some big name players, including maybe some flag plants that we'll talk about. Is it time to panic on these guys? But that's the point, Addy. We're not panicked about guys that we drafted at the back of our drafts who are depth for our rosters. If those guys perform well, we're thrilled. If they don't perform so well, that's what we expected. But when we spend a high pick on these guys, that stings a little bit when these guys underperform.
No doubt. And there's a lot of them out there.
There really is.
We got what? How many we got tonight we're going to talk about?
We're going to talk about 15 names.
Yeah. 5
at D-line, 5 at linebacker, and 5 at DB.
It's a juicy looking list, week 1.
Yeah. And then you get to end of week 3 and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Because I think we're getting to that point in the season where we have enough information to, I think, start making some informed decisions and not having just these knee-jerk reactions, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to sort through tonight. Is it time to panic, or should you be patient and hold out? But, Addy, let's hit some news, and let's start with the big news out of Cleveland today. The Browns confirmed that Myles Garrett was involved in a one-car accident this afternoon after leaving the practice facility. He suffered non-life-threatening. I don't care if he broke off a fingernail, seeing life-threatening, even if it is non-life-threatening in a tweet, just gives me the heebie-jeebies. But then you look at the car and you think, I don't know how this guy did not sustain life-threatening injuries, because that thing was all sorts of messed up.
Oh, so you got pictures out there of the car?
Yes, it flipped multiple times. He was taken to a local hospital. Garrett's 2021 Porsche flipped several times before coming to rest, according to Ohio State Highway Patrol. His injuries described as minor. So we'll see what comes out of this. He's supposed to be released tonight, but this reminded me of the Cam Newton situation where he had his car accident. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Myles Garrett's availability is not in question this weekend.
Yeah, potentially so. But
flipped multiple times. It wasn't like he skidded off the road and went into a guardrail or something.
Yeah, I mean, thank God it wasn't like a Tiger Woods situation or something where his guy breaks a leg or something out for the year. I mean, it could have been so much worse. So, yeah, luckily he's okay. But he's been great this year, man.
He really has.
But there's always something every year weird with him, you know?
Miles from an NFL stadium, Garrett, took me back. I think that was maybe year one when he tried to decapitate Mason Rudolph.
Then he got the Rona that year, and it was just not good for him. He was never the same. That
year, the Rona, I guess that was 2020, just completely knocked him out. He said he had trouble breathing, and you could tell on the field. I mean, the guy was not himself. So hopefully Myles Garrett,
loves the drama.
Just maybe I've always said if I was rich, boy, I would never drive again.
Yeah,
I would have cars and maybe take them out like a convertible or something, but everyday travel, no way.
Hey, boy, you can you can just your driver.
You can still have wrecks, but I'm not going to be behind the wheel of a vehicle, folks.
I don't know. I like to be in control too much.
That's true.
Would never,
you are a control freak.
I would never let that happen.
That's true.
I'm an alpha male.
Alpha male, control freak. That's a good combination. So moving on to other injuries, but sustained on the field from this week's action. Zaven Collins' shoulder injury left the game, did not return against the Rams. Addy, I don't know if you saw this one. I happened to be watching this game when wide receiver fullback Ben Skoranek absolutely laid Zaven Collins out. And Mark Sanchez, who's been pretty hit or miss on the commentary, brought it up in real time that he thought Skoranek had injured Zaven Collins, and sure enough, exits with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, that's not what we wanted to see to start the year. I think Zaven had like 4 tackles before exiting, but yeah, I mean, this is not good. But I mean, maybe it opens up more playing time for Isaiah Simmons. So did I do the?
Yeah, it's not good, but it could be good.
It's good for somebody.
You did pivot to another player rather than the same player, so that's good. But let's talk about the Denver Broncos. We're going to be speaking on one of your flag plants, I believe. Was Josie Jewell a flag plant for you?
Oh, yeah, baby.
So Zaven Collins, we know, left the game. Denver Broncos edge rusher Baron Browning, knee injury, defensive lineman DJ Jones, head injury, left the game, did not return against San Francisco. This one hurt my heart, Addy, because he was off to a pretty nice start. Had a huge week 1. But Detroit Lions safety Tracy Walker is confirmed to have ruptured his Achilles, ending his 2022 campaign. Pour one out for Tracy Walker, one of our original babies. You hate to see his season end like this.
Yeah, man. I mean, just like Harold Landry, who got paid this offseason, major injury and done for the year. Hate to see it, but I guess we are glad that they got paid.
That's right. That's the only silver lining in this, is that Walker and Landry both got paid. We know from watching the clips, watching Hard Knocks, Dan Campbell loves Tracy Walker, sees him as a leader for that defense. So what does this do?
It dings him. It dings. I mean, Tracy Walker's ding now in Dynasty, and obviously Harold Landry is too. I mean, people don't move up when they have season-ending injuries. No.
They always get dinged. It's just a matter of how far down. I would drop probably Tracy Walker a little more than a Harold Landry. They're both paid.
I've got Harold Landry in the 40s. Tracy Walker's going to be your free falling. I mean, just an Achilles.
That's tough
for a safety like that.
And he's not old, but he's not a spring chicken either.
Right.
He's been around.
Yeah, he's on
like
his 26, 27.
Yeah, he's on his second contract.
So yeah, it's not best for his value. You hate to see that.
So a couple cornerbacks who left in their games: Jair Alexander of the Green Bay Packers exited with a groin injury. Las Vegas Raiders cornerback Nate Hobbs, who's been very good for me this season, left the game, did not return. This one's significant, Addy. The Chargers, that I don't know what cursed them, what happened that made them have the worst injury luck in the league every single season. But we saw Rashawn Slater, season over. I think it was a biceps tear. Brandon Staley also said that edge rusher Joey Bosa has a significant groin injury and will be week to week. So I would expect to be without Joey Bosa this week in your lineups. New York Jets linebacker Quincy Williams carted off with an ankle injury and also did not return. X-rays came back negative. However, it is suspected to be a high ankle sprain. So, Addy, Joey Bosa, huge loss for your lineups. But Quincy Williams quietly playing above 85% of snaps as a full-time linebacker. That's a big loss as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Bosa, I mean, there's no replacing Bosa. But, I mean, if you're looking who's going to do it on the Chargers, it's going to be Chris Rumpf. He's the guy. He played, looks like 57% of the snaps in his place. So, we'll see what he looks like. We get a chance to evaluate him. And then, yeah, Quincy Williams. Hate to see that. But Quan Alexander probably going to have a shot.
It's time to hit the Quan.
Yeah.
So it's why you bring Quan in as depth. And then when something like this happens, you're not scrambling and putting in a Chris Rumpf character. I know that's one thing Robert Mays, Nate Tice brought up in their AFC West preview before the season is like, boy, this Chargers team is loaded, but they're dangerously thin at edge rusher behind Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this team can recover, man. But they have literally had the worst injury luck to start the season.
Lost Slater for the year.
They did. Lost Slater. They also lost one of their wide receivers.
They lost Guyton.
Jalen Guyton. And then, of course, Keenan Allen's been banged up with the hamstring. Herbert has the rib cartilage injury that can linger throughout the season.
Kenneth Murray, not that he matters, but he got banged up a little bit.
So one more injury update here, Addy. Azeez Al-Shaair sustained an MCL sprain during the 49ers' 11-10 loss to the Broncos. So
that's good for Fred Warner and
it definitely clears
Dre.
the lane for Dre Greenlaw and Azeez, or for Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw that Azeez Al-Shaair is out of the picture.
Certainly can't hurt Fred Warner. He's what a we'll get to him, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say that may be the one. We'll do like a 1 to 10 scale to see where our panic level is, but that one I feel like is going to be pretty high. I don't think there's been a bigger name player that's been the topic of more disgruntled, should I drop this guy conversations right now than Fred Warner.
Yeah. Don't do that. But.
Don't do that. The dude is still playing 100% of snaps.
Yeah.
But
he'll have some good weeks.
Yeah. If you were drafting him as your LB1, that was probably your mistake.
We mentioned that, we were much higher on him in Dynasty than we are in redraft. We think he's going to age very well. But yeah, I mean, he's a LB2 at best.
He's going to age like Eric Kendricks. Exactly. I see them very similarly. I think they're going to both play into their 30s. They're both going to be really solid LB2s with LB1 upside.
He's going to lose some of his coverage ability, and that's going to help his tackle numbers, which are spotty right now because teams kind of shy away from him. But I mean, that stuff fades, and yeah, he could turn into like a big tackle guy by the end. That's why I'm higher on him in Dynasty than redraft.
That's sure. Right. We may see actually a value spike near the end of his career because you're right. He's probably not going to be trusted in coverage once his speed and athleticism falls off. But the dude, if he is, sound between the ears, which we know he is, one of the smartest, highest graded linebackers by PFF, the dude's not going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time if they say, hey, Fred, you're our box guy now. We want you to be this enforcer type and stay in here and make some tackles. Yeah, that could be an interesting career arc. Better player for the NFL, worse for IDP, and that completely flips as he gets older.
Yep.
So let's keep things rolling, Addy, and talk about some waiver wire targets. Of course, if you're subscribed over at the IDPshow.com and you're one of our paid supporters, we just sent out the Week 4 waiver wire article. Our boy Boo Bam puts that together, and we get that to you Monday night. So I actually just sent it out probably about 30 minutes ago. So if you're a paid supporter over there, you know some of the guys that we are looking at as linebacker or as waiver wire ads at all positions, Addy. Is there anyone in particular? I've got one I want to call out that I really do think will be out there on waivers in most leagues. Any targets that come to mind for you here going into week 4?
I haven't really even looked at waivers yet.
So here's one that I would say. I mentioned this. Check out our YouTube as well. I did a YouTube short talking about some of the nuggets that you needed to know coming out of week 3. And I mentioned, and this pains me, Nick Cross is droppable in redraft. Rodney McLeod is shaping up to be that box safety that we thought Nick Cross was going to be. So, as a guy that was just sort of a guy, I know much maligned on this podcast by, from me in particular, Rodney McLeod, not a guy that we expected to threaten Nick Cross's job. Obviously, the coaching staff does not trust Nick Cross. Only 1 snap in the game against Kansas City. So, if McLeod is out there, go put in a hefty waiver claim, especially if you're light at safety. So, another one, Addy, that I wanted to mention at the safety position, Jalen Petrie has been lighting it up. Did you see what this guy did?
Oh, my God, yeah.
A sack, 2 interceptions.
I don't remember the last time a safety like that had a 40-point game.
I don't either. No. Jamal Adams, maybe like a
maybe he had like a 3-set game. But yeah, I can't remember the last time I've seen that. So I mean, that definitely is something that you put a pin in. And yeah, I mean, talk about someone, seeing their dynasty value boost up. I mean, when a young safety like that, and also, this was a guy that was drafted early in the 2nd round, I believe.
That's right. They're looking for dudes. They're just looking for dudes to build this team around in this season that the Texans are in, which is a total tear-down rebuild. And I think Petrie could be one of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy that I'm thinking of now, Jacob Phillips. He's going to be up there at the top,
right.
With Anthony Walker injuring his quad and being done for the year, and then JOK dealing with a groin injury himself. Yeah, I mean, Jacob Phillips is likely going to be an LB2, LB3 for you down the stretch.
Yeah, he's going to be wearing the green dot. We saw that from Mikey Dubs earlier.
But follow me on Twitter because I've been doing that lately. I've been posting the guys that I'm targeting on the waiver wire, and we've got a good list running so far. I mean, they've been making me look good. So I'll do that again this week, and hopefully we can get some more hits.
Let's go, Addy. So make sure you check it out, theidpshow.com. Consider becoming a paid supporter over there. We send out 9.
Follow the tweets.
Yeah, follow the tweets.
We're on the YouTubes.
Yeah, if you want the goodies, we're really everywhere. Our boy Dr. Leesus is on TikTok now for the Banged Up podcast, another perk of being a paid supporter. So
I have the handle secured for TikTok in case we ever want to get over there and do some stuff.
I heard of another one this weekend that kind of threw me for a loop. Have you ever heard of Yik Yak?
No.
This is a thing. I'm not making this up. I know I always say bing bong as opposed to...
It sounds like an awful dad joke.
It really isn't. The bomb threat that Western had like a week or so ago.
Oh, yeah.
The girl facing some jail time, been expelled. She did it on Yik Yak.
I see.
And they happened to find it.
Okay.
So, I don't know. If Yik Yackers stand up, if you're out there using the old Yik Yak, hit us up. I have no idea what it is or what it does. But
I mean, first impression's not great.
Yeah, we should probably get on there though, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they're calling them bomb threats, I love that.
Yeah, we should be yicking and yakking.
I hate school.
Yeah, well, it was because I said, wait a minute, there was a bomb scare at our local university because someone thought near a construction site there was dynamite, and so what happened was this girl got a ticket in the parking garage. This was on I think like Good Morning America or one of the nightly news shows on like NBC or something. Like it was national news. And apparently she got a ticket and she got on Yik Yak and said, the second bomb's about to go off in PS2. And they found it and evacuated the whole campus and found out it was her and expelled her, arrested her, and now she's facing jail time.
Wow. Hate to see that.
Hate to see it. That and just normal person, just a normal person just having a bad day with parking and transportation, folks. Don't make bomb threats. That's just a good general rule for life. Don't put anything in writing that could get you expelled.
Yeah. She's ruined her life.
Yeah. Hate to see it. Don't yik yak and don't make bomb threats, people. That's the rule of thumb here. So, Addy, what's the score of the game here? Is it almost over?
Yeah, it looks like it. I don't know if that's going to stand as a pick. Trayvon Diggs looks like he might have just had a pick. Where I haven't really got to see a good angle of it. Looks like it's a pick to me.
Looks like it's a pick. I don't think that ball hit the ground.
Someone's hurt. I'm hoping it's not Saquon.
Oh, no. Please don't be Saquon. That would be tragic. All right, Addy.
Anyone else is fine.
Yeah, anyone else. Take anyone else in the Giants. Well, Kayvon. Spare Kayvon.
Yeah,
but you're talking about
it was nice seeing him out there.
Yeah, he was hyping up the crowd, I saw. So wearing the number 5. Typically not a fan of the single digits.
No, I like him.
But it looks good.
Yeah.
I love these Giants uniforms. I think these look really classy. I think they're really slick. But, Addy, it is time to enter the panic room.
Oh, Sterling Shepard carted off.
Oh, no. I was about to hit the drop, so I'm glad I waited. Here we go. It's time, Addy, to enter the panic room.
It's called a panic room.
It's called a panic room, Addy. So we got, I know, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, right? But the first guy we have up here is one that I was very high on going into the season. We're going to start off with our defensive lineman. And the DL6, as far as ADP goes, looking at these best balls, anytime you hear us reference ADP, that's typically what we're referencing is we have a spreadsheet with all the ADPs from our best balls that we did. Danielle Hunter of the Minnesota Vikings went as the DL6. And week to week, Addy, the snap share is there. 79, 75, 83% of snaps. Grading pretty well. 68, 65, 83.9 over 3 weeks. But the scoring just hasn't quite been there outside of week 1 when he scored 18.15 points by Big 3 scoring. Followed that up with 5 1/4 and 6.75. Addy, what is your panic level with your beloved Danielle Hunter?
None at all.
Yeah, I think I'm a 0.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. That's just that's the nature of the position. Yeah, we have way too much evidence of Danielle Hunter being a baller. You know, it's just a slow start, and it happens. It happens all the time. Yeah, he's a great buy low, I think.
Yeah, good time. This is a good point. I don't remember where I saw this recently, but it's just good kind of words of wisdom is this is, I think Boobam actually said it in his waiver wire article, and it was a good reminder. This is about the time we're doing this segment, right? So people are starting to panic. If you identify these candidates, might be a good time to send an offer to the frustrated manager out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, unfortunately, if you're in a league like MFL or even RSO now, I think he's listed as a linebacker, which is such a bummer.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, if he's listed as an edge, a defensive end, sleeper, yeah, his value is still very much intact. Yeah, I think he's a see what people are wanting. I think you could get him for a second. You know, do you want to spend a 23 second?
I don't think so. If I get him for a third, I think I'd do that.
I don't think you're getting him for a third.
I don't think so.
I think, but I mean, you can maybe get him for, what about a 24 second? Would you send that and be okay with that?
Yeah, I think so. Because I could go get that 24 second back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That may be what you have to do.
That feels about right.
If you want a second, I think you're going to have one from down the line. And even if, if you're in a league where it's already got your 20, 25 seconds out there, I mean, sometimes that's not a bad, it's just there for you for later. You're going to be happy when you get to that, and you're going to get to it, hopefully.
We might be dead.
Hopefully you don't die.
Yeah,
just don't die.
The world could end. You could not make it to then. But yeah, Danielle Hunter, 0 out of 10 on the panic meter. This next guy, Addy, was one of your flag plants. So I'm curious if you're panicked at all. The Miami Dolphins, Jalen Phillips was the DL16, but we have seen the scoring not quite living up to what we had hoped for. Week 1, 3.75. Week 2, 1 1/4. Week 3 did tick up 9 points. The snaps have been pretty steady, right around 70%. Week 1, 76. Week 2, and 67. Week 3, the grades have been, week 1 was not good, but week 2, 74.9. Week 3, 62.9. So grading all right the past 2 weeks. What's your panic level on Jalen Phillips, Addy?
Yeah, sure. I'm a little concerned, especially since I did the flag plant, so that makes it a little worse.
You always care a little more, right?
Sure, but I'm very. I love the snaps. I mean, I don't think anyone thought he was going to be seeing close to 70% of the snaps, over 70% of the snaps. I think most people would tell you that's a rotation there, and
I think we should be victory lapping the fact that we said he would lead the Miami edge rushers in snaps.
Yeah, there we go. Because, a lot of people had this guy as getting, being third in snaps. Like Van Ginkel was up there in snaps.
Ginkel and Ingram were going to keep him off the field.
Yeah. And, that just hasn't been the case. It's been Jalen Phillips leading the team in snaps. Now, is that going to continue? I still think so. I mean, just let this guy work through whatever he's going through, and he's had tough matchups to start. I mean, it's not been easy sledding to start. So I do like Jalen Phillips as a bounce back. I think this is, if you do believe, this is a great time to get out there and buy, just because I think people will be kind of concerned.
Yeah, I'm not too high. I'm encouraged by the snaps. I'm encouraged that his grades have come up a little bit. This Dolphins team is winning, so I don't think they're going to be looking to change the formula. This is a young player he's making plays. I mean, I was listening to Around the NFL today. They were recapping Dolphins Bills, and they talked about Agba and Jalen Phillips beating their one-on-one so quickly that it forced Josh Allen into a bad play. So I know Phillips is out there playing well.
Exactly, man. They've had tough matchups. I mean, just, New England week 1, who Belichick's going to be very good at neutralizing what they're best at. Then they had Lamar Jackson week 2. He's very slippery, hard to get a hold of. Then Josh Allen again, same thing. That's a tough opening stretch.
In my opinion, 2 of the top 5 teams in the Ravens and the Bills in your first 3 games. That's tough. And Miami's come out of that 3-0.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, and 3 really smart quarterbacks that know how to get the ball out fast. And
exactly.
I mean, it's just be patient. I think good times are going to come, and then again, Phillips is that type where he can win you a week. I mean, when it does come, it's going to come in bunches. So
yeah, I'm higher on the panic meter than I am with Danielle Hunter, but still not very panicked on Jalen Phillips.
Especially not in Dynasty. Don't take it.
Oh God, no.
I'm not concerned in Dynasty at all.
Yeah, almost had a deal in place for Jalen Phillips.
Nice.
It was going to be Hollywood Brown and Jamal Williams for Jalen Phillips, Nick Cross, and a couple of 2024 seconds, I think it was.
Wow.
That was me and Johnny Mack working this out. And
what's Hollywood Brown's contract? Is it
expiring? Jamal Williams is expiring.
But you'll have a chance to maybe extend.
Yeah, you'll have a chance to extend in season. So I told John, I was like, you're saying I'm always willing to flip. Defense for offense was rattling around. So I was like,
I don't like that. I love Hollywood.
Yeah, I was like, I think
if you have a chance to maybe extend Hollywood, I mean, if you can get him for, I think, 15 per, that's a deal.
That's absolutely a deal. So I think I'd pull the trigger on that.
I would just wait to see what the contract is for Dylan him.
Held on to Hollywood Brown, dealt Jamal Williams, got back, I think, a 2024 or 2023 third.
Yeah.
And got Peyton Turner as well.
Yeah, that's solid.
So
that's
not
fine.
bad. Even though
Williams did see his value.
I know. I did see Sigmund Bloom today say that Jamal Williams could very easily be this year's James Conner. And that absolutely crushed me because James Conner was a league winner last year, but he was expiring. Not a guy I'm going to extend.
Swift's coming back, Sig. I'll say that. You need to pipe down a little bit. I'll say that.
Don't pipe down next week, though, Sig. If y'all have forgotten, we will be doing the special collaboration with Football Guys next week, Addy.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a lunchtime pod on Tuesday, so it'll be out earlier in the day for folks. It's going to be a special episode of the IDP Blitz. We're going to be appearing in our feed and in the Audible feed, so make sure you're subscribed over there as well. Sig does like 15-minute IDP Blitz episodes every week with John Norton and Matt Schaaf and Gary Davenport. So great rotating cast, very short episodes hitting on some of the big talking points. But we're starting to put the notes together for that one. Going to be looking at some big questions around 3-down linebackers, Addy. The data has been pretty interesting as I've started to dig into it.
Yeah, it's fun getting to, have multiple weeks that we can kind of pull stuff, from. So,
exactly.
That's going to be a can't miss episode, obviously. So.
Yeah, so tune in. It will be video and audio in both feeds. So next up here, Addy, on the list, Montez Sweat, taken as the DL19, playing 73, 85, and 71% of snaps, but not scoring super well, 13.75, 6.5, and 2. Grades have been very solid, averaging right around a 70 overall defensive grade for PFF. What's your concern level for Montez Sweat?
Yeah, I mean, same. I'm not really concerned.
Are you higher or lower panic meter for Montez Sweat or Jalen Phillips?
Well, I like Jalen Phillips' upside more. So I guess Montez Sweat.
Yeah. You're a little more panicked about Sweat.
Yeah, I'd say so. If I had any Sweat shares, I would probably be a little scared.
You'd be sweating it? Ooh. Hey, I think Josh Sweat is the sweaty bro that you want right now,
yeah,
right?
I think so. Yeah.
He's
been great.
That Eagles team is ferocious. And I do think they wanted to absolutely whip Carson Wentz's ass being back playing Philadelphia, and they got after him. They destroyed that team.
Yeah, that front is insane. I was looking at kind of the usage for that group, and man, all those defensive tackles, those interior linemen, they all playing like pretty evenly. I mean, they're playing Milton Williams, they're playing Fletcher Cox, they're playing
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis is getting the least amount. And then obviously Hargrave's leading the way, but not by much. I think he's only like 53%. So I mean,
that's just a group of ass kickers, dude.
And yeah, what a unit.
Yeah, I'm a little more. I think I'm with you. I'm a little more worried on Sweat because Sweat was a guy that I think we had some influence here in. Let's see, where was Jalen Phillips was getting drafted ahead of Montez Sweat on average in these best balls that we did. I guess, like you said, for the big play upside, those boom games with Jalen Phillips. But
because I think you kind of expected that with Phillips going into it.
Exactly.
I mean, this is
it's going to be up and down.
It was, it was much more of a shot with Jalen Phillips, whereas Montez Sweat is this is what, year 4 for him.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen plenty of production, and he's been pretty consistent for the most part. He's not usually someone that has just monster weeks. He's just pretty steady. So yeah, it's a little concerning, but he does get Chase Young coming back at some point, so maybe that will take some pressure off of him. And offensive lines can kind of focus on him a little more. But I mean, he's got good help around him. I mean, Deron Payne's crushing it. Jonathan Allen, one of the best defensive tackles in the league. I don't know. Are you concerned about Mr. Sweat?
I don't know. It's
Montez?
the Montez version of the Sweaty Bros. A little bit, just because I think. He's sort of the Fred Warner equivalent on the defensive line for me of like, this is a player that I think gets drafted as a penciled in DL1. And in my mind, he's a high end DL2 with DL1 upside. So I think if you were expecting that, if you were expecting consistent DL1 numbers, yes, you have reason to be panicked. But if you took him as your DL2, not panicked at all.
And yeah, same thing. I fully expect him to bounce back. Again, a lot of with these edge guys, that's just the way it goes.
It's gonna be up and down.
Yeah. And then they're just, unfortunately for them, they're having the bad game cheer to start.
Yeah, so it stings more because that's all we have to go off of, right? So next up here, Eddie, this is a player that I have seen legitimate should I drop this guy questions about. New Orleans Saints carb face himself, Marcus Davenport, was going off as DL22. He has been playing around about like probably 55 to 60% of snaps on average. 60% week 1, 58% week 2, 49% week 3. Grading around a 60 overall defensive grade, but boy, the scoring has been super ugly. 1.5 week 1, 4 in week 2, and 1.25. Addy, what are we supposed to do with Marcus Davenport?
Yeah, again, it's not the start we want.
Yeah, I'm a little panicked about Marcus Davenport.
And we know all the stuff in the offseason with like he lost a portion of his pinky finger, and then he had the shoulder surgery, I believe. And so yeah, it's maybe that is cause for the slow start, but for the most part, he still is doing okay. I mean, for the pressures, we're looking at pressures. He's put up 6 pressures on 63 pass rush snaps. So I mean, that's pretty solid. 64.2 PFF grade, like you mentioned. But yeah, it's not what you want. I mean,
yeah,
it's and people are already kind of like not big fans of Davenport anyway. Davenport's one of those guys like. Only a handful of people seem to really care for this guy.
I think he's just one of those that's burned us in the past, especially with the first round pedigree.
Exactly. Like Davenport, the way he started off his career, like his first 2-3 years, he couldn't stay healthy, and he would flash, but he could never stay healthy. Last year, he put it together more than he ever has. But again, he got hurt.
Yep.
And this year, the slow start. And when he starts off slow, because you are expecting him to miss some games. So it's when he is out there, you expect him to perform and you need him to perform. So
well,
it's not a good look.
And here's what worries me too. And this speaks to something Boobam mentioned in his waiver wire article. The defensive end playing the second most snaps behind Cameron Jordan, who's sitting at a very nice 80.3, is Shy Tuttle at 62.56% of snaps. So that's what has me worried. I'm at about a 5 with Marcus Davenport because this is no bueno. Like, I can handle a couple 5-6 point games to start the year, but boy, you're not even cracking 2 points.
Well, I think Tuttle's interior though. So I mean, whatever.
Yeah, they've got him. They got him as a D tackle. You're right, but
so he's second most in edge snaps.
But yeah, that's So give me a number. What's your number here? I was a 0 on Hunter, probably like 2 on Jalen Phillips, a 3 on Sweat, and probably like a 5 on Davenport.
Yeah, I'd say the most on Davenport for sure. And it is, kind of surprising just because he isn't a surprising. This could turn around very easily.
Yeah. Well, you almost had the contract year thing.
It is the contract,
which is why I thought we'd see him.
Yeah.
You'd like to say get off to a big start, but like it's a long season for these guys.
We got 14 games left.
I'm not dropping Marcus Davenport. Am I maybe sitting him down if I've got better options? Yes.
Yep. I bet
because the snaps really haven't been there, man. I mean, the last 2 weeks you're looking at 58 and 49% of snaps.
I bet he will get dropped. I'd say there are a lot of people on this list will get dropped. I mean, Josie Jewell was dropped, I think, in quite a few leagues, which is just, folks, we better.
We can't be doing this.
If you did that out there after listening to the show, I don't know what to tell you.
Have you not been listening? We tried to educate you. All right. Woo! Next up here on the list, Addy, our 5th and final defensive lineman, Chandler Jones, average ADP of defensive lineman 24, playing 90% of snaps the first 2 weeks, a very nice 69% of snaps in week 3. Not grading the best and not scoring the best either. 7.5, 7.25, and 2.75 in week 3, Addy. How you feeling about Chandler Jones?
Pretty worried, I'd say about 7 or 8.
Oh, boy.
Just because there's a chance that he's washed,
Oh, man, you think he might be washed?
No. I think he's going to have some monster weeks. Just because, he's got, he can clean up some of Mad Max's madness, dude.
What? Mad Max?
Mad Max and his madness, dude.
Oh, that got you. He gets to clean that up, dude.
Yeah, dude. But I don't know, man. I think Chandler Jones is going to be fine. But, yeah, there is a part of me that's like, he is 32.
Yes.
33. He didn't put together the best year, in Arizona.
And if that team is bad in Las Vegas, and we know they're 0-3 now, the only winless team in the AFC, and 0-3 teams historically do not make the playoffs. So I had high hopes for the Raiders. I thought they were going to be pretty good. I thought that team was better than the team that made it in as a wild card last year. So, hey, why not ride with them again?
They had a tough start.
Not really.
Who was it they played week 1?
They played, I think it was
Did they play the Chargers? They played the Chargers week 1.
Chargers week 1, but then you had the Cardinals, who were absolutely dead on arrival. They were up huge on the Cards.
That's right. And the Titans.
You get the Titans, who were coming in at 0-2, looking dead on arrival as well. So
both those teams were in must-win games.
They were the defibrillator for those two dead on arrival teams, which is not what you want.
Is that a loser leaves town match?
What
was that match?
Yes, I think Nate Tice actually brought that up on Twitter, said it was a loser leaves town match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I wish the Titans were the ones leaving town.
That was a Bill Simmons thing, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's been a thing for a while. But
we're going to have to cancel you, Nate.
Sorry, Nate. Friend of the show, not for long. So I really didn't have a good feel on Chandler Jones because I really only roster him, I think in best ball. So I'm not worried if he's not having the big games because he's not in my lineup. But, oh, man, you think he might be washed. This is kind of throwing me. Maybe.
The pressure rate hasn't been that great the last few years. That we use that to evaluate, pass rushers a lot.
How well are these guys playing?
Yeah, and he hasn't really been on par with some of the other elite guys that we like. So, Yeah, it is concerning. I mean, I paid him a lot of money this offseason in our RSO league.
That you did.
Defensive end in there. So, I mean, yeah, I'm a little concerned, but, you
and the Raiders might both be concerned.
You can't sell, I don't think. If you're a contender, you're not selling. And also, like, what are you going to get for him at this point? Like, someone can come give you a fourth-round pick. At that point, you just sit on him.
If
someone's going to give you a third, sure, I'll go ahead and just...
absolutely.
But again, I guess it all depends on kind of how your room is. My situation in that RSO league, my ass is thin. I got Jerry Hughes, which looks like that's going to be a godsend. But it was Chandler Jones and Gross Matos as my other defensive end. So
Yeats, big Yeats.
Jerry Hughes stepping right in.
Come on in, Jerry Hughes.
Right into the defensive end 1 role. So
come on in.
Love to see it.
Veteran leadership on that team.
But speaking of pressure rates, I mean, Jerry Hughes, someone that has had even though we saw him in limited action the last few years, very good pressure rate. And so you see it translating in Houston now. He's got his opportunity.
Let's move, Addy, to everyone's favorite position, linebacker, and talk about some big names that have been underperforming at the linebacker position. And we're starting off with a heat-seeking missile here at number 1, Jordan Brooks of the Seattle Seahawks. B-Wags, we know, out the building. Cody Barton has been playing pretty well for them alongside Jordan Brooks. Average ADP of LB5. Has played 100% of snaps the first 2 weeks and 96% in week 3. Has graded okay, 64, 51, and 47 overall. But the scoring has been good. We're not saying the scoring has been bad. 14, 11.75, and then 9.75. But when Arn was putting this doc together, he said, you did not draft Jordan Brooks to get you like an average of like 10 points a game.
Yep.
And that's true. So, panic level on Jordan Brooks, Addy.
Yeah, I think you should have some panic. I mean, I'd say probably 5 or 6. I mean, in redraft, you're stuck with him, In Dynasty, the time to sell him was before the season started. Because I think he's not very good. I mean, he was like the most targeted linebacker in the league last year. That should be a large clue to you that he's not good. The grades also reflect that. I mean,
yeah,
seems like nothing special. I mean, it's Seattle, He's I don't think this is what you want to see if you spend a top 5 pick on a linebacker, which is what you had to do.
Yeah, top 5, LB5.
Yeah. So he's going to be fine. He's going to be solid. I mean, he's going to be a guy that I think 9.75 points, that's probably his floor.
I'd say 10 is probably like a safe floor.
Yeah.
But
he's going to max out at like 20.
Yeah, I was going to say
25. He's not someone that does a lot of extra stuff.
No. He's just a tackle monster.
Yeah, he just gets a ton of tackles.
So I think that, again, it's context. Like we talked about, if you were drafting Montez Sweat to be your DL1, you're probably panicked because he's not going to be that. If you drafted Jordan Brooks to be a top 5 linebacker again, you were banking on something that really wasn't repeatable. I mean, this dude had an insane number of combined tackles last year that just is not something that's really repeatable. Well, maybe it's repeatable, but it's not something that I necessarily want to bank on. He was just a great fade candidate because of how outrageous his tackle production was. So, yeah, I'm not panicked because I wasn't trying to get him as that top 5 guy. If he was my LB1, that's fine. I don't know that I actually had him in any of those best balls that we did. So I guess that tells you how I feel about Jordan Brooks. Anytime it came to click the button on Brooks, I was like, no, I think I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So panic level, I'm not panicked personally because I don't really have a lot of Brooks shares, but I don't know if you should be super panicked because
he'll still be a solid.
Yeah, what did you expect from this guy when you drafted him?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should have drafted him knowing that he's probably going to regress a little bit.
Yeah, you're going to get 10 to 20 points, like Addy said. Probably around like 12.5, 13 on average, and thus far, that's what he's done.
Again, 184 combined tackles last year. I mean, that's just not likely to, you're not likely to repeat that.
No, that's really hard to do. Number 2 on the list here, Addy, is one we mentioned earlier. I think the player we've seen the most, should I drop this guy, questions about thus far through the season, is the LB7 from our best ball drafts, Fred Warner of the San Francisco 49ers, playing 100% of snaps on the season, but scoring 6.5, 2.75, and 11.25. Of course, grading really well, 66, 66, and 78 overall the first 3 weeks. Addy, baby, what is going on with Fred Warner? Talk to the people.
Well, I mean, he's had bad matchups. You know, the week 1 game against Chicago, not good. I don't even remember who they played week 2, but I mean, last night against Denver.
God, what a terrible game that was.
Just an awful game. So again, not a great start for him, but you know, I think you got to be realistic when it comes to Fred Warner right now. I mean, he's a linebacker 2 or 3, and you probably shouldn't even feel that good if he's your linebacker 2. I mean, you want him more as like your linebacker 3.
I want him as that kind of, LB3 flex consideration.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, that's not the way you could have built your team this year. You know, you had to spend an LB1 pick to acquire him. But hopefully you've been able to pick up better options. Like again, like I'm in a situation where I have Josie Jewell, Drew Tranquil, and Michael Walker, who I've picked up off waivers this offseason, or through the
free agent auction.
Right. So I mean, I'm in a spot now where it's like I think I need to bench Fred Warner.
Yes. Because you're starting Josie Jewell, you're starting Michael Walker,
and then Drew Tranquil.
Are you starting Tranquil over Fred Warner at this point? That's the coin flip for me.
80%. I know he's not a full-time player, but 80% Tranquil is better than 100% Fred Warner. You know, there's going to be times where, you know, you can't just go straight up, oh, this guy's playing more. Well, I mean, if he ain't doing shit with the playing time, like we gotta address that. So yeah, I mean, Fred Warner, you're gonna have to hope that he's probably not gonna leave your lineup. So you're just gonna hope that he goes off for you, and that's an awful place to be in.
He's a 7 or 8 for me, man. I don't want him in my lineups at this point. Yeah. Just sit him down until things change, right? Because it's like, man, you got 11 and a quarter, and you're like, woohoo, here we go. Like, what does that say? You talk about 10 points being the floor for Brooks. What's the floor for Fred?
And this isn't new.
2 or 3 points?
This isn't a new thing. I mean, he has had stretches where he's balled out for sure, and had, you know.
He's always been streaky. You're right.
Also been a nice, you know, a little side note for Fred, like a primetime player. Like if you look back at like his championship weeks, like week 16 when it was.
The lights are brightest.
Right. Week 16, you know, before we went to
17.
games.
So that was championship week.
Yeah. Like last year, balled out, and he's done that every single year. So I like that's a nice little thing.
We like Fred, the primetime player, if you make it to the champ. But how many Fred Warner managers are making it there?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot these days.
Hopefully you're solid somewhere else.
He's just too good. He's too good for IDP.
Just like the old cornerback axiom of too good for IDP, Fred Warner might be too good for IDP.
And the other linebackers there are like too bad.
Yeah.
Like Greenlaw's fine, but he's not as good as Fred Warner.
No. Yeah,
Fred's can't even wash his jock straight.
That's right. I don't know where that accent came from, mate, but I loved it. Next up here, out of a player, I think we can all agree it's probably a 10 out of 10. I mean, let me get the drop back in here.
It's called a panic room.
I'm in the panic room, and Isaiah Simmons is in there with me. LB11. The snaps have been a horrifying roller coaster. This is like a roller coaster that veers down the hill and goes straight into the fiery depths of hell. 87% of snaps week 1, 22% in week 2, 33% in week 3, scoring 3.75, 6.5, and 0.75 points in week number 3.
Yikes.
You're not starting Isaiah Simmons. You're probably not rostering Isaiah Simmons.
No, not in redraft.
Not in redraft.
Now, it's not a complete 10 for me. It's a 9.5 because the Zaven Collins injury.
Yes. Okay. Good point.
There's a little crack, maybe a little crack, but it could be Nick Vigil coming to slam it.
It's just smashing Isaiah Simmons' face in the door.
Yeah, a finger in there.
Yeah, don't put your finger in the door, Isaiah Simmons, because Nick Vigil may be waiting on the other side, bud.
So, yeah, what a bummer, man. It's how things have turned very quickly for Isaiah Simmons and his outlook. I mean, you're not dropping him in Dynasty, of course.
I'm waiting for a new team and maybe a new position.
Yeah.
Again, I said it on one of the last shows. This could be a Hassan Reddick situation.
That's exactly what it is.
Where we have him playing, safety for the, New York Giants or Jets, or just pick X team that picks him up in free agency. And suddenly this guy is a top 15 IDP asset because he's finally playing the right position, a la Hassan Reddick.
It's a mess there in Arizona, dude.
It is. I was looking at, here's the thing. And I don't know why they maybe wouldn't think of Simmons unless they just don't think he can cut it. And maybe that's just the thing. Maybe he just can't cut it on the NFL field. I'll be on the All 22 podcast tomorrow night, Addy.
Oh, wow.
We're doing the Versus series with the All 22 guys. They're basically matching up against some folks from around the fantasy football landscape. They've got the IDP show this week. I'll be on their show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Check it out. And putting together the lineup. So we're basically matching lineups here of guys outside the top 5 of their ADP. And they were kind enough to let me have the first crack at the lineup. And I was looking at the team grades for PFF to see, well, what's a favorable matchup for my wide receivers, for my quarterback? Like, which team's pass coverage is just awful? Do you want to know who the 32nd ranked pass coverage team was, Addy?
I sure do, Josh.
It was the Arizona Cardinals. And it wasn't just by a little bit. It was the Arizona Cardinals at 29.6, and the next closest team, the Seattle Seahawks, at 41.7.
Yeah, that's bad.
So that is a significant gap. And so I don't know why Simmons maybe wouldn't get a crack at trying his hand at more of a safety, slot corner kind of star role.
Well, there's not a lot of, there's good players there for them at
it's
those
true.
Positions.
Jalen Thompson, Buda Baker.
Maybe not in the star, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it is what's concerning is that there's just not a lot of talent, it seems, on that team. And if you can't cut it there,
But Hassan Reddick couldn't cut it on some bad Cardinals team either. I have hope.
Coaching is a very real thing.
It really is.
Fit is a very real thing. So, I mean, yeah, he just needs a fresh start, I think.
I'm not dropping him in Dynasty, but you're not starting him anywhere at all.
You just have to wait. You're going to have to wait probably for a year, 2 years. And
if you got him on your taxi squad, you don't have to take up a roster spot. Plug him in there.
Are you letting him go for a fourth? Or are you just going to hold him out?
For a fourth? Yeah, probably.
Just let someone else deal with it.
Exactly. Just let somebody else, especially if he has to hold a roster spot for me right now.
Yeah, right.
I would be entertaining really. I mean, yeah, it'd have to be a fourth. I'm not just going to throw him away for like a fifth.
Remember when everyone was so excited about him getting the DB tag in Sleeper? It's almost like kind of nice. Like, well, at least he had that for a second.
Yeah, we had a moment there with Simmons.
That seemed like that was the very best time to sell Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, it probably was.
What a long time ago that was.
What a long time ago it was.
I mean, obviously not the best time to sell him, but the best time in the last year.
Yeah. Now watch, we could be saying week 8, oh my God, Isaiah Simmons playing 90% of snaps and he's resurrected his career. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Cardinals are very clearly telling us what they think of Isaiah Simmons, but things change. Injuries happen. The Cardinals could have their hand forced to play Simmons more, and maybe he does something with it. I'm holding out hope. Talented player, high draft pick, but we have to sit him down. He is in the panic room.
Yeah, something just doesn't sniff right. That's a bad team. Used high draft capital on that dude. It's just his, third year.
And it wasn't a player where they thought like a Cleveland Farrell, like, what's going on there? Why'd the Cardinals... Now, they got much maligned because they thought, well, why are you drafting a linebacker that high? But the player, the profile and the outlook for this guy was really promising. It wasn't like a reach in terms of like, okay, if you wanted a linebacker there, that's a good pick.
Everyone's like, oh, I love what Arizona's
doing. Exactly.
Starting to fix the defense now.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then they got Zaven Collins. They got the 2 tall trees, and that defense is going to be stout.
My mouth is watering.
Yeah, the next Tampa Bay. Boy, that has quickly descended into hell.
Kyler can't stop playing Call of Duty.
Exactly. Those double XP weekends just absolutely killing his playbook study. So, as soon as that clause got threw out, he took that iPad and just chucked it out the window. Driving home to play Call of Duty. Let's talk about the next guy here. Our mulleted hero for the Washington Commanders, Cole Holcomb. LB 17, playing 100% of snaps in week 1 and 2, 91% in week 3. Scoring 4.75 week 1, 9 in week 2, and 15.25 in week 3. Addy, I'm not concerned about Cole Holcomb. The snaps are there. And yeah, maybe the score isn't what you want week to week, But he's sort of like Jordan Brooks to me. He's going to be squarely in that 10 to 20 range. Yep. He was being drafted as an LB2. I'm at like a 0 for Cole Holcomb.
Yeah, same.
Really no concern.
Not worried at all. And
now,
I mean, what's behind him is Jamin Davis.
Jamin Davis did have a really nice week.
And the snaps were back up, which was nice.
So I think Jamin may be putting it together a little bit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't dampen my enthusiasm for Cole Holcomb.
No.
Especially for, again, I was proud of the drafters here taking him at LB7 or LB17. That feels like, honestly, kind of a steal for
that's fair. That's
a linebacker that has, top 15 upside if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. We are not worried about Cole Holcomb. But, Addy, what about this next guy here? Shaq Thompson, LB23. So, again, you got a pretty nice discount on a guy that had, top 15 upside. But the snaps have been very up and down. That's been the story for me with Frankie Louvu as the leading snap getter in that linebacking core. Shaq Thompson has seen 75% of snaps week 1. You're like, oh no, what's going on? Week 2, up to 92. So you're like, all right, we're back, baby. And then week 3, 74% of snaps. The scoring has sort of reflected the snap share. Week 1, 7.5. Week 2, 10.5. That was his highest snap total. And then week 3, 9 points. Panic level on Shaq Thompson, Addy.
5.
I was going to say it's pretty high for me just because it looks like Frankie Louvu is the preferred linebacker there.
Yeah, he's someone that I really don't feel comfortable starting anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, I would hope I have better options than Shaq Thompson. I mean, I have Shaq Thompson on a few rosters, and maybe I'll start him in leagues where you start like 5,
Yep.
I have leagues like that.
If you're in a 3 linebacker league, which is predominantly what we play in, I don't think he's cracking my top 3.
Right. Yeah.
At least I'm hoping. I hope I'm not in a situation where I've got to start Shaq Thompson.
Yeah, he's outside of like the top 36 linebackers at this point, I think.
Yeah. What happened there? I mean, we heard whispers about Louvu, but man,
he just
lost his job?
I mean, he didn't lose his job. He's out there, Did he lose? I mean, I guess he lost the LB1 tag.
Yeah.
But he still is, I mean, looking at the snaps, he's still playing almost, 80% of the snaps?
Something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, that's still very solid.
That's close to full-time, but not quite. 85% of snaps. We're going to talk about this next week a lot.
He's an LB 3-4 now.
Yes.
If he's going to be getting those snaps where he was an LB 2-3. I mean, even, Shaq Thompson was a little frustrating to roster.
Very streaky as well. So let's just stay in Carolina, Addy, as we move to DB. This is a player we have talked about a lot this offseason, and the chatter continues here. The DB2, Jeremy Chinn, has played 100% of snaps, but until this past week, the scoring was not quite there. 7.75 week 1, 5.25 week 2. Redeems himself 28.1 in week 3. The grades have been a little hot and cold, 49 in week 1, 43 in week 3, and 62 in week 2. You have talked a lot this offseason about Jeremy Chinn, so I will cede the floor to you. I feel like you're not panicked because you had a different outlook on Chinn than probably most of the IDP community.
Yeah, no panic. I think this is about what you should expect from him. I mean, really, that's kind of what he's been. He's been a guy that has pretty average weeks, and then he has these explosion games. And he does, he'll have 2 or 3 of those a year. But yeah, I mean, with the usage flipping now, where he's playing a lot more deep than he was the last 2 years. I mean, that's not going to be good for his tackling. So yeah, are you panicked about Jeremy Chinn?
I'm not.
I mean, I'm not. I mean,
you're not taking him out of your lineups.
No, exactly. He's still a really solid safety option. He still is he's a top 15. Right, I just think he's more in that 10 to 15 range than he is that 1 to 3 range, which he was being drafted at. Yeah,
the panic level for me is always, is this guy concerning me to the point where I'm going to take him out of the lineup? Mm-hmm. And the answer is no for Jeremy Chinn.
Yep.
He's getting the snap. He's playing 100% of snaps.
Yeah.
You don't take that guy out. Now, was he a good sell in Dynasty?
Hell yeah.
But for redraft purposes, you're starting this guy. And I don't think that's changing unless we see the snaps, for whatever reason, start to dip. But I don't anticipate that. I don't anticipate a Frankie Louvu situation where suddenly Jeremy Chinn's losing snaps to some guy we've never heard of.
Yeah.
So as long as he's out there getting 100% of snaps, you're starting Jeremy Chinn. We mentioned the Cardinals situation. Addy, the DB3, Budda Baker, has been okay to start the season. 93% of snaps, week 1, 100% in week 2 and 3. He is grading pretty well, about a 62 on average. The points have been okay, 13 and a quarter week 1, 9 points week 2, 12.5 week 3. Any panic on Budda Baker?
No, this is what he does. I mean, and also these are very solid weeks for a defensive back. I mean, 13 and a quarter, 9, 12 and a half. I mean, sign me up for that all day long, especially with, kind of how much of a trash can defensive back is right now. I mean,
boy, it's rough.
It is hard out here for some pimps. I started the year in our RSO league that's our favorite league, but I started the year with Jamal Adams, Jordan Poyer, Harrison Smith. I have Jordan Whitehead, who hasn't really lived up to expectations yet. Logan Ryan. So, going to the year, I'm like, oh, my God.
I'm so loaded.
I am loaded here. This is not a concern. I was, putting all these guys on the block. Someone, please come get a safety.
Yes, come buy a safety from me.
I'll give you a good deal.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't trade any of those guys, man, because, you're deep until you're not. I mean, and
depth can thin out pretty quickly, especially if guys are underperforming.
Yes, for sure. And I'm dealing with that right now. But, I mean, yeah, Budda Baker, I mean, you can't complain about these weeks. I mean,
yeah, this looks good.
Yeah, this is great.
0% panic for me. Because, yeah, it is. It's gross out here for safety right now.
And think about what's going on in Arizona. I mean, they don't know what the hell they're doing there, linebacker. And anyway, all the options at linebacker are awful.
Complete butt.
They're all bad.
Utter butt.
So, I mean, you got Budda Baker and you got Jalen Thompson both going to be soaking up tackles because they actually know how to tackle and play defense. And it's going to be good things. And I expect a pretty good year for Budda. So don't do anything dumb. I think he's a buy, like most people on this list. I mean, if there's any concern, I think you should be
go scoop him up.
Yeah.
Would you rather have? If you were safety needy and both managers of Budda Baker and Jeremy Chinn, let's say redraft, were frustrated, and you had the opportunity to acquire one of those two players,
Budda Baker, 100%.
I think I'm going Budda as well.
Yeah. I mean, you saw kind of.
He's a little. I feel like he's more consistent than Chinn at this
definitely,
point.
but he will have his boom weeks. He'll have his weeks where he gets a pick and a sack in the same game. He'll have a 30-point game. But Chinn is just, he's the valleys are very down there.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
Cut that out. No, Addy, I'm not doing any post-production on this thing. The valleys are low. I get what you're saying. Like the floor is, as Jordan famously said, the ceiling is the roof.
Yeah.
What could the floor be? The floor could be the basement.
They're down there.
It's in the panic room. It's in the panic room.
Yeah, don't panic about Budda Baker, man.
He's good.
He's amazing.
Let's move to the Indianapolis Colts, a team that I was panicked about until we miraculously pulled off a game that I think the Chiefs probably win 97 times out of 100. But we managed to pull it out. We're 1-1-1, which makes me want to barf. I absolutely abolished ties in the NFL.
Wow, how cool is that?
1-1-1. So that's not fun, not cool. Don't like it at all. But the IDP assets on this team have been, outside of maybe Bobby Okereke, been pretty bad thus far. Shaq Leonard, please God, come back sometime soon. But Kenny Moore, Addy. Now, this is important. This was in Sleeper. We pulled this ADP from. He was going as DB13. So let's speak to both the cornerback required leagues and leagues where he's designated as a DB, playing 100% of snaps the first 2 weeks and 97% in week 3, 8.25, 5.75, and 6.5 in week 3. Now, I think in cornerback required leagues, you're not really worried at all. That's fairly solid for CB required leagues. Anytime I get more than like 5 points from a CB, I'm like, all right, I'll take that. That's fine. But DB required leagues, I mean,
no,
this isn't really cutting it, I don't think.
No, I think you definitely should be panicked. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 6, 7, something like that. Just because, I mean, the scheme's different now. The DC is in Chicago. That was there during all of Kenny Moore's success.
Matt Eberflus.
Right. He moved on Chicago.
And freaking Gus Bradley. I'm telling you, man, if this Colts season starts to swirl down the toilet, Gus Bradley's going to be the sacrificial lamb. I'm just telling you right now, the man is not good.
So, yeah, I think that, if you're expecting, the same old Kenny Moore from the last 4 years pretty much, it may not happen.
This is what you may be saying to yourself.
Betrayal.
You may be feeling betrayed.
That's one of the best drops ever.
A lot of good memories attached to that drop.
I saw where Halo 3 turned 15.
15 for Halo 3? Are you serious? Is that the best of the Halos?
It's pretty good, man.
I think it's hard to beat. That campaign's fantastic. The co-op is great. Because they introduced co-op in 2, and then Halo 3, I think, is where they really dialed it in and understood what the co-op was.
They were in their zone with that one. The new one was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Have you gotten on with us at all?
Not lately.
Yeah, we need to get back on.
But for a stretch, we were playing it like every week, dude.
Yeah, that's right. It's been so long.
I love it. It's I love how the games are free now.
That's right. Well, Halo Infinite is to play online.
Yes.
That's their thing because my cousin and I, we've been
I don't care about the campaigns.
The Gears of War, that you have to pay for that. Because I was like, oh, yeah, everything's free now. Sweet. And then it was like going to play Gears of War online, and it's like, no, sorry, you got to pay like $15 a month or whatever this thing is now.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob.
No.
But I love that Halo Infinite is free.
Yeah. And I guess like Fortnite is, or I don't know.
Yeah, there are a few games that are free to play online.
Is that a thing now? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question.
They get you in there, and then they want you to buy all the extra content.
Yeah, buy all the loot boxes or whatever. No, thank you. But speaking of loot boxes,
we're on to your video games.
Yeah, we know what you got going on there, Fortnite and Halo. Yeah, so Kenny Moore, CB required, fine. Not looking at him as like a top 3 CB anymore necessarily, but DB leagues probably setting this guy down.
Yeah, and Kenny Moore, I mean, he's he is probably flying down the dynasty ranks too, just because he is getting up there in age, and you're just like, there's no reason to really rank a cornerback this high.
Yeah. I heard him talking up L'Jarius Sneed on the Athletic Football Show.
Now, L'Jarius Sneed.
Good Lord, L'Jarius. He's having himself. I think it was him, put the whammy on Matt Ryan, made him fly backwards, feet were up over his head, ball was flying out. Matt Ryan has looked 100 years old in these games. I didn't watch a lot of Matt Ryan before he was the Colts quarterback. I'm worried Matt Ryan may be washed up. Yeah. I think this dude may be cooked. I was tweeting out, like, is it Sam Ehlinger time? The main reason why is because our offensive line may be the worst in the league right now.
You think so?
It's a bottom 5 unit.
Wow.
And so my thinking is Matt Ryan.
Congrats on beating the Chiefs. What the hell?
Dude, I'm telling you, watch the game. One of the flukiest wins you'll ever see. The Chiefs, they miss an extra point. They miss a field goal. They go for a fake field goal on like 4th and 10 and don't get it. And they were driving to win the game. The defense just made a really nice play. Chris Jones, the game is over. Chris Jones starts jawing with Matt Ryan. They get a 15-yard penalty. First down, drive continues, Colts score and go up. So like I said, the Chiefs probably win that game 97 times out of 100. Just so happened that Sunday was one of the 3 times that the Colts win it.
Man.
So, yeah, boy. And Matt Ryan, he can't run. He may be the slowest quarterback in the league. Like, those legs are looking like he's got concrete shoes on.
I would love to see that race, like Matt Ryan versus Tom Brady.
Oh, God. I think Brady may have him. I saw Brady scramble, broke the knee brace, looked faster than Matt Ryan, man. It's like, I've never seen anything like it. But Matt Ryan can't throw he doesn't have time to throw downfield, so I don't know if he can throw further than 30 yards.
He can't throw on the run because he can't run.
He literally can't run, folks. And so the only reason I'm saying, hey, maybe Ehlinger gives us a little juice here is because Ehlinger can run around. The dude's like mad athletic.
Yeah.
So it may get to that point later in the season. But yeah, that team stinks. That team just straight up stinks. Now they may still win the AFC South. But the Jags are looking really good. It's amazing what kind of difference coaching makes, Addy.
I know.
And especially good coaching. Doug Peterson's not like some unproven Jim Tom Sula wannabe up there. Like, this guy is a Super Bowl winning coach.
Yeah, they're lucky they got him, man. They're lucky they were able to get out of that situation the way they were.
Yeah.
That was just last year. I mean, what a difference a year makes.
How sad is your college football fan base if you are chanting Urban Meyer's name when he's on set like the Nebraska fans did? Did you see the Twitter clips of this? Like, no, Nebraska fired its coach, Scott Frost.
And they're already wanting...
They're chanting for Urban Meyer. Bring us... It's like, guys...
What an awful look.
Did you all happen to tune into the NFL at all last year?
I was talking with someone I work with about that today. Like, I don't think Urban will ever get a job again.
Oh, he absolutely will.
But
some of these colleges and universities, man, are so just desperate to get excitement back into the fan base. They'll do it. They absolutely will do it. You just wait.
So Urban Meyer was on like a college game day set or something?
Yes, and they were literally, he had to like turn around and like think it was like presidential parade or something, and they were like yelling for him and chanting for him.
Man, if I was Urban Meyer, like the last place I would want to be is in the spotlight. Like I would imagine like saying like I would, his wife and family probably want him not in the spotlight either. Right?
Do they want him in the house though? Maybe they want him on a college sideline.
Maybe so, but
at this point,
I feel like y'all would just try and go away. He's got plenty of money. Just go away. Dude.
Even Fox dumped his rehiring on like a Friday so that no one would hopefully bring it up because they knew how bad of a look it was to bring him back.
So Fox hired him.
Yes, he's back with Fox.
I thought he was just like a guest on a show.
No, he's back as an analyst, like a pregame analyst for Fox.
Oh. It's Fox. It's Fox for you.
Yes, hasn't changed in 20 years. They still got the robot out there dancing for their NFL coverage.
That is Fox.
Next DB on the list, Addy, is Kyle Hamilton, the Baltimore Ravens rookie safety. This is why I think you have reason to panic, was because for some reason, now we're all excited about Kyle Hamilton in Dynasty. We love K-Ham. He's a top Dynasty asset at safety. But for redraft, what were we doing making him the DB 14 in these drafts? These were redraft drafts that we were doing. Now, they were best balls, so maybe you could say, oh, I'm swinging for upside if this guy's a playmaker. But you can't make plays, Addy, when you're playing 50% of snaps, 54% of snaps, 24% of snaps, getting 3.75, 7.5, and 7.25. That's honestly more points than I thought that Kyle Hamilton was going to be scoring. But we're not starting Kyle Hamilton, are we?
No, we're dropping him in redraft.
Yeah.
I mean, and he'll be on speed dial if something were to happen to Cut Clark or Marcus Williams, who, by the way, looking like a must start.
I'm telling you, man.
Marcus Williams, I mean, it's another solid week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I think that we've gotten 3 weeks of it. I mean, Marcus Williams is the safety you want there. And then I mean Chuck Clark is a fine fill-in for you. I mean he's playing the box role and the tackle numbers should be solid for him week to week. So, but yeah, Kyle Hamilton, we're cutting him loose, and that happens. You know, I appreciate the people that took the shots. I mean,
for sure.
That's the way it goes. I mean, we did it last year with Zaven, it didn't work out, and you move on quickly, right? I mean, it's now. And you're done with it. It's okay.
That's right. You took the shot. It didn't work out. This is like Isaiah Simmons. You just cut bait, and it's okay. It's okay to take the shot to see what happens. I wasn't panicked about Kyle Hamilton because I'm not starting Kyle Hamilton anywhere. The coaches told us it was Marcus Williams, and it was Cut Clark. So if you were starting Hamilton, you were trying to do this sort of Zaven Collins voodoo where it was like from last year, it was like, well, maybe the coaches are lying to us and they're going to roll out Kyle Hamilton in like a 90% snap share.
Yeah.
You were trying to galaxy brain this thing, and it hasn't worked out. So I never had a worry about Kyle Hamilton because I didn't view him as a guy you were starting. But if he's in your starting lineups, you got to get that out of there and get a safety playing, 75, 80% of snaps at a minimum in his place.
Do you have any Kyle Hamilton shares in redraft?
In redraft, no, I don't think I did because he was going as DB 14.
Exactly right.
I'll throw a dart at like DB 38 or something, but 14, no sir.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have like Nick Cross.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have a lot of Nick Cross.
You have some Brisker, I bet.
Yep.
But
love Brisker.
The Kyle Hamilton ADP was just too much, too early, too high, too early. So, are we scared in Dynasty? No, absolutely not. I still think this guy is probably deserving of being like a top 6 safety. I mean, I think that, everything we like about prospects and all that stuff, he's got it all. So
he checks all the boxes.
So yeah, just be patient. I mean, this is a good chance to get out there and buy again.
That's right. So I wanted to bring up Marcus Williams just quickly. You mentioned it. 27.3 week 1, 31 week 2, 12.75 week number 3. So just playing really well there, man.
Roll him out there.
I think you just roll him out until the wheels fall off. But I think this is a good player that the Ravens paid handsomely. Like Addy said, Kyle Hamilton comes back onto the radar if something happens to one of these two guys. But for now, I think you have to cut bait and move on. Speaking of bait, I didn't even plan this. Jesse Bates has the safety 5 here that we're talking about. DB 16, playing about 100% of the snaps, 97, 98, 100. The grades have been okay, 69.9, 48.2, 61.7. But the scoring until this last week, Addy was in bad shape. It was down bad. 2 points in week 1, 3.75 week 2, week 3, 13.35. Panic level with Jesse Bates?
Yeah, I mean, pretty panic. He's not someone that I want to have as a starting safety for me. I just don't like the way he gets his points. I mean, 2 points, 3.75, 13.35. He'll have some spike weeks, but yeah, it's a very low floor. So no, thank you. If someone's wanting to buy on the name value in the past, sure. But I mean, I don't think you're gonna have a lot of suitors out there. So yeah, I'd be panicked. I'd be looking for better options. But you probably aren't gonna find them.
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, it's like, well, I'll just take the chance that Jesse Bates makes a play. Because I mean, you're looking at the waiver wires. Waiver wires are pretty disgusting.
Yeah. So far this season, he has had 2 tackles, 3 tackles, 3 tackles. What saved him this week? An interception.
Yeah.
So, man, are you keeping him in your lineup? I guess if you don't have better options, if your waiver wire is as gross as ours, maybe.
Yeah.
And you just hope he makes a play. But, God, that's not Shaq Thompson. That's not a guy I want to be putting in my lineup. I'm down bad if I have to keep plugging in Jesse Bates.
Same, but all the clues were there for Jesse Bates. I mean, hopefully, you don't have, because for one, we didn't know that Jesse Bates was going to even. I mean, we assumed he would, but there was a lot of chatter, like people act like that he wasn't going to play this year.
Oh, Dax Hill. Dax Hill had a moment there.
Right.
That was your 2 days to sell Dax Hill.
But maybe is Jesse Bates maybe playing uninspired ball right now? Probably. I mean, I think he realizes that his time is coming to an end, and I don't think he was happy with being tagged.
That was very foreboding. His time is coming to an end. The Grim Reaper's at his door.
I mean, in Cincinnati.
Yeah. His days are numbered in Cincinnati. He will be elsewhere.
I'm sure he has that in mind. He's also probably wanting to protect himself so he can get another big payday, because, again, this guy he grades really well on PFF. I think most people view this guy as a good real NFL safety.
Could this be a Honey Badger situation?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of sees that the writing's on the wall, probably not going to re-sign with this team in the offseason, going to protect myself. I mean, I was hearing another podcast talking about Honey Badger was making some business decisions there at the end of the season with the team that was really good, that had Super Bowl aspirations. What happens if this Bengals team with the Super Bowl hangover just kind of flames out and goes like 7-10?
Very well could, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think Jesse Bates is going to be one of the guys that's really all in on that team.
Because they're not all in on him.
Exactly right.
So why would you be?
Yep.
Can't blame him at all.
He's thinking in the future.
It's called a panic room.
So there you go, folks. The Panic Room segment. Addy, there was that was good.
The movie with Jodie Foster?
It was a long time ago, but I remember it being. I mean, I was pretty panicked watching
my heart was pounding.
It was a good one. Very good. So, would you build a panic room in your house if you could? Money was no object?
For sure, yeah.
Right?
I'd build every room.
Every room?
All the rooms.
Every room in my house would be hidden behind a bookshelf. It's like, why does Josh have 8 bookshelves in his house?
Yeah, but we'd have all the rooms are. We'd have the basketball court. We'd have a putt-putt room.
A sex dungeon.
Sure.
Why not?
Sure.
Throw it in there.
We'd have our podcast room.
Then we'd have a podcast studio that's not a shed.
Yeah, we'd have it all.
We'd have it
all. Have all we need.
Well, we got all we need on this episode, folks. We hope that you all have enjoyed. Hey, we're getting out here pretty quick tonight. Hour 19. Look at us.
Don't panic too much, folks. It's all going to be okay. I think for the most part, there wasn't too many people we were really scared.
Well, I was going to say, it was a nice mix because most of the guys, not too panicked, but there were some that we needed to bring up.
Yeah.
The Simmonses and the Kyle Hamiltons of the world.
Your
where it's
edge
like,
guys are the ones that you should be, just relax. That could easily flip around, next week.
Edge is very up and down.
Yeah.
So don't get too stressed out about any of those players, but I'm glad we brought them up because I think there was legitimate cause for concern on some of these guys.
Yep.
So, Addy, I'm going to give you the solo cam here as we go out. Tell the good folks about the Dynasty ranks.
Yeah.
You've been in there working.
Dynasty ranks, they're almost finished, folks. I mean, for the most part, they really are. I'm just adding in some more details and tighten them up and all that stuff. But
that's right.
I mean, we're looking at least 225 different players in here with just massive amounts of info. We got, trade value, 40 times, speed scores, RAS scores, college notes and college production, college stats. We've got a little bit of everything in here. So, real good stuff. Come take a look. Come be a subscriber.
Yeah, come through flicking on that candy paint.
Absolutely, you have to.
Come get you a paid sub. And like Addy said, you want to just pay the $5, get the ranks, and bounce out. No hard
totally
feelings.
Cool.
We want you to support us however you want to. If you're just in there for the ranks, man, they're the best in the game. So I don't blame you. If the $5 is just to get the ranks and get out, totally fine.
But you'll get a full month.
That's right. You get them for the full month. So come through theidpshow.com. Addy, I think we're going to be maybe sending out access to paid supporters probably in tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're wrapping up some of the actual numerical rankings, and then we'll give access, and then we'll have it kind of filled out with other information as the week goes on. But very, very excited.
One little tweak today.
Oh, tell me about it.
Devin Lloyd.
Oh boy,
he was a big topic last episode. He's going to be a topic. He's going to be a big topic for the next 5 years, I think.
Wouldn't it be awesome if Devin Bush got his ish together and then we had 3 dominant Devins?
That would be so nice.
Devin Bush is just killing it.
Yeah,
he's really letting us down because Devin White is balling out of control. Devin Lloyd is balling out of control.
Yeah, man, it could have been a new big 3.
You could have been starting 3 Devins.
Yeah.
3 Devins as your linebackers.
Oh, but anyway, I moved.
Yeah, you didn't even say what the update was. We got so hyped.
I moved Devin Lloyd ahead of Shaq Leonard.
I can't say I blame you there. I mean, Shaq Leonard's just so banged up, man. The injury concerns are real at this point. I mean, I really thought he was coming back week 3. I'm assuming
27.2.
Yeah, I'm assuming he'll be back. I'm assuming he'll be back this week. Otherwise, I think he would have gone on IR. So hopefully we get Shaq back. But yeah, in Dynasty, man, Devin Lloyd's what, like 22, 23?
He was actually a little older. He's 24, which was kind of surprising.
Okay, still. You got a 3-year jump on Shaq Leonard. So what does that make him?
Looks like
LB5?
LB4.
LB4.
LB4, LB5 for Shaq Leonard. So, yeah, my top 5 is, I guess I'm going to have to switch Micah Parsons to edge. I think everyone's going to be getting on board with that.
He's going to be a full-time edge, I think.
So, as of now, Micah Parsons, LB1, Devin White, LB2, Roquan, LB3, Devin Lloyd, LB4. And honestly, I think I can move up. I think you can move Devin Lloyd all the way to the top.
I think you could move him to 3. I think he could jump Roquan. Did you mention Devin White?
Devin White is second behind Micah Parsons.
I think you could make a case for Devin 1 and Devin 2.
Yeah,
and put him in whatever order you want, because I think you have to toss Micah Parsons out of there.
Okay, we'll have to go ahead and maybe do that now.
Ooh, the IDPshow.com, folks. You want to become a paid sub over there so you can get access to these ranks.
And we're not doing it to just be hot takey, man.
No,
this
get ahead.
What other? Who do you want? You're gonna go buy Logan Wilson? You're gonna go buy Jordan Brooks? You're gonna go buy? No, you're not.
Don't do that. And these are dynasty ranks. We're trying to be ahead of the curve. That's the point. We've always tried to be ahead of the wave, not being caught flat-footed when it gets here. We're going to have some misses, but like you said, Eddie, we're going to have a hell of a lot of hits as well.
Yep.
So thank you all for joining us for this episode. We will have the football guys, Kyle B., Joey the Tooth, and Trip on Thursday, they're going to be recording the Week 4 preview. Kind of crazy, Addy. Wow. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season already. It flies by. Takes forever to get here and then absolutely flies by, but I'm so excited for those guys to bring in some of the work they've been doing for Football Guys. They're going to be referencing a lot of their written work over there, so make sure you grab a Football Guys subscription so you can check out their work and support those guys. But they'll be coming in Thursday with the preview episode. Like we mentioned, next week we will be on with the great Sigmund Bloom, doing a very special collaborative episode of the IDP Blitz, looking at 3-down linebackers. So it's going to be a fun discussion, Addy. We got some really good questions lined up. We're going to zoom out and hit some of the macro topics in IDP with this IDP Blitz collaboration. So getting in the weeds and talking about kind of the start sits, that's a lot of fun, but I think it's useful. Once a month, we're going to zoom out and kind of take a look at the landscape.
Can't wait.
Should be fun. Should be fun. So y'all tune in Thursday to the preview, next week to the IDP Blitz. And until then, see y'all soon.